data mesh theater. I think this is the third year in a row in Big Data London we've had a fabric and a mesh. So I don't really need to tell you, the challenges about what it is, but really is talk about the why. This is really where I wanted to first. Why is the methodology of a data mesh gaining so much traction? What is it, the appeal of it to the business? And really it's because of this understanding of these two separate worlds. These two separate worlds of IT owning infrastructure, IT owning SAP and mainframe and DB2, the source systems, the transactional systems that are running your business today, and the business wanting access to that data. And it's always been a conflict. It's always been a conflict. It's always been that the business doesn't get the data that it needs. The data isn't right, isn't clean enough, it can't get it in a timely fashion. And IT, like saying, okay, let's start another process to build out an ETL framework, let's build out deployments, and it is this conflict that is driving the methodology around a data mesh. Because if you empower the business, to be a data professional, to build data products, to own their own destinies, to build their own pipelines and to drive their own value around data, then IT is servicing that. And that really is where the methodology about helping organizations empower a data mesh methodology, but built on governance, built on a framework, and that framework is a fabric. Ultimately, that is really where we believe that IT owns the infrastructure and the data fabric, supporting the business to have a mindset of building out a data mesh methodology. And there's a nice Gartner quote that sort of, it's not just me saying that, it's not saying, this is ultimately their, Etishan out of Gartner has got a lot of documents, a lot of messaging around that framework. And to have good governance and to understand the fabrics and the data integration pipelines that you're building today, it's all going to sit on metadata. This is the battleground of understanding the data. Metadata, catalog, lineage, profiling, this is the gateway between IT and the business. So the business can find, make it searchable and usable, these can understand the data that they need, and then they can go and build these data products. They can go and build these modern cloud analytics. And what is driving this? What is driving this ultimately? It's an evolution that is cloud-based. It is the cloud that is driving this. So now I'm going to tell a little bit of a story, a little bit of history. Actually, I come from acquisition into Qlik. So actually, I was from the Attunity side of the business through arranging around CDC. I've been here a little bit over 20 years, 22, 23 years now. And so I can remember some of the first projects we started working on around data warehousing and things. I wasn't around in '86, but just as a history, let me just tell you a story about where the evolution of the technology sits. When Teradata launched their very first data warehouse, I think it was '81, they weren't called Teradata at the time, and they sold it to Wells Fargo. They created an industry overnight. Kinman versus Imbal, this third normal form against rapid data marts. This was a really, really angry time where you were all in on the third normal form Inman sort of model, or your Kimball fast data markers, and nothing compared to Snowflake Databricks fights now. This was a religion between the two. And why? It's because they wanted to get data faster to the data teams. That's why Teradata brought out their very first data warehouse. It's because there was no such thing as a warehouse. All you had was operational systems in order to accessing it. So these are the same questions over and over that the industry meets. Then you get the big data teams and their patch in the open source, and all of a sudden schema on read over schema on write. You don't need the full ETL framework of building out third normal forms. Put all the data in this magical lake, schema on read, you can just access that data and get magical value out of it. That didn't really work out so well. You had to be really, in order to manage all of those 30 different open source projects all within one platform in order to gain business value, only very few of the very largest organizations had the investments in order to build out and gain that value. But then you got this architectural pattern. Do you go with a Lambda architecture with a speed layer and a batch layer, or do you go Kappa first, which is that Kafka streaming, put all the data in a stream, and again, magically create value? There is no magic here. There is always the need for T. The T, the transformation, is always needed to create business value. But where in the flow, where in the pipeline is that T done? That is the change in technology. And now this is where it is driving its cloud. Cloud and the modern cloud platforms, Snowflake, Databricks, and the Lakehouse, means that everybody is a data professional. Everybody can spin up an AWS account and start building data pipelines to understand their data. Everybody in Microsoft now launching their data fabric. Everybody can build these pipelines. And so no longer is it IT owning the infrastructure. Teradata was expensive and difficult because they put their arms around it and IT owned it. And the business was the customer that came to IT and asked for those reports. As technology evolves and the technology and the infrastructure and the cloud evolves, everybody is now a data professional within your organizations. But how does IT support this? Governance, control, understanding metadata is still the part that is owned by IT, to expose, to make data available to the business teams to get better business value out of it, to build their data products, to build those modern analytics platforms. And it's cloud-based, and it's driving a culture within an organization that we're all now working with this. It's all cloud-based and infrastructure. So what is that phrase? And it says, the only constant is change, but it's still the same challenge. The same challenge that the very first data warehousing platforms had, the very first big data platforms had, the first innovations with Kafka and streaming. It's the same conversations that we're having over and over. We know what is your most valuable data. We know where that data sits, and the business users need to get access to that to build business value. And that ultimately is where Qlik sits. We understand the business through the analytics portfolio. We understand the questions, we understand the complexities of helping the business do better things with data. And we own the portfolio to bring that data to the business faster to enable them to do more with it. So another Gartner quote. Again, all these slides I think are going to be made available, and this is public and it's going to be published, but we do like validation from understanding the complexities. Understanding what's what I found is that the internal IT debt. That is where the fear that big CDOs and the CIOs in organizations, they don't want IT debt sitting against their legacy platforms. They want to empower users to get the value out of data faster. And that is a fail-fast, cloud-based mesh sort of DevOps methodology that we're all now helping organizations get that business value. So this is a one slide that builds up to where we see the organization, where we're seeing most use cases today. The Qlik Cloud Data Integration Platform is the portfolio that is our integration platform. This is where all of the product portfolio for Talend will sit, all the product portfolio where Unity sits, all the components that is bringing data out of your most valuable platforms today. Oracle and SQL and DB2, SAP and mainframe, SaaS applications with Stitch and bringing data out of any type of data that you have. And we're bringing that to the modern data stack. Where are you building your platforms today? And you're building them in the cloud. You'll build them in the cloud, on Azure, on AWS, on GCP. And then you get best of breed products that live there. Kafka with their streaming platform, working with Confluent. Databricks with the modern, much more than Spark now, but their cloud-based analytics platform, and Snowflake. These 6 partners here are 85% of our business, are streaming and moving ELT and ETL frameworks directly to the cloud. But 85% of our business is in the cloud, but here's another statement. 80% of our business is also on-premise, because it's a journey. We have to be able to help organizations on that journey. And many of their use cases are still moving data from an Oracle to a SQL server, from moving data from SAP down into an operational IDE system, or in the manufacturing space with historians and SCADAs, or within the infrastructure states. There is still a space to understanding the on-premise environment, to helping people move around data. That is still going to be there and will still be there for another decade at least. But the journey is taking that data to the cloud for the right use case. And that's really where we're helping organizations solve the needs of today and bring their real-time data to the cloud to build out that modern architecture. And that is the methodology of a lakehouse and a fabric. A fabric supports not one use case, but many. Come to the fabric and ask the question, what data do you have, in what format, and where the why is the business looking to build that product in that data mesh methodology. And this is where Qlik sits, in our analytics portfolio. So we have our best-of-breed analytics platform in the cloud with machine learning and AI-driven applications. We have natural language analytics. We can just have a conversation with the data. What we call our associated engine is the powerful, it's basically a graph database sitting within the platform itself that exposes the analytics of what you want and what you didn't yet know. So understanding that, of getting data, the best value out of data, Qlik has been that market leader there for 13 years in the top right magic quadrant, and everything within our analytics portfolio sits within a SaaS offering within our cloud to get the most value out of data. And this is the two worlds coming together, where integration and analytics sit with the hyperscalers and the compute engine of the cloud sitting within the middle. So let's talk about just a few customer examples and about the why. Why are they doing this? There's a nice one here, Jaguar Land Rover, full in on GCP. You hear this over and over. We're cloud first, and they pick a cloud platform. We're all in, we're going GCP, HSBC, BT, Vodafone, and the telcos are in that space. We're going all in on GCP. Oracle, SQL, SAP, mainframe, these are the most valuable bits of data that Jaguar Land Rover have. And we are streaming real-time data out of those legacy applications, out of the on-premise systems, and creating an ODS, a real-time transactionally consistent copy directly into GCP, directly into BigQuery. And then the business gets access to that, and you can do transformations, you can build visualizations. You can use any of it. You can use Tableau, you can use Looker, you can use this. I'm not going to force you that you have to use QlikSense, you have to use our cloud SaaS platform. We are independent and open, working directly with Power BI, working directly with Tableau, working directly with any other visualization tools you want, but bringing the data directly in an ELT framework into the cloud. Schneider Electric is another great example, all in on the AWS stack. And again, we have multiple customers on all of the hyperscalers, on all of the different platforms. What I like about Schneider Electric is they did a really big sort of deep dive analysis of why. And even though we're a technology vendor, helping them unlock all of their data, again, they have mainframe, they have SAP, they have Oracle, they have a huge amount of SaaS applications, I think over 40 or 50 different SaaS applications that they're bringing in to their AWS stack. What is the biggest change is culture. For them, this culture of a data mesh, this culture of data products, of enabling the teams, was the biggest hurdle for them. And they broke their data teams apart. It wasn't IT in the business. They broke those teams apart, and in every product team, they had someone from IT, they had someone from governance, they had someone from quality, and they had someone from the business, creating those scrum teams across the organization to deliver value to each of those different lines of business. And every single year, they break those teams up and they move them around. So that when someone does something right in one team, it's not like a little pocket of knowledge that sits within one environment. They have a culture of change, of innovation, and they are doing amazing things on the full AWS stack, building out full services, building out whole applications to understand their data that is driving business change within the organization. And again, if you want that, they've done a really nice 12-page report with AWS talking about the value of building out services within AWS, and we are, dare I say, the glue that streams real-time data into that use case. One each, just to make it fair. Working with Microsoft. Mercedes-Benz had over, I think, 36 SAP systems globally. I mentioned SAP a few times because we have real competence in that space and uniqueness. And what they had their big data platform running on Azure, on Synapse and Databricks. That had been running for about 2.5 years, their 360 program for bringing all of the data into that part of the business. But they couldn't get over the fact that ETL was slowing them down, and they wanted this EL, this streaming real-time framework. Transformation is still needed, but it's handed to the business faster. Running transformation within Databricks, probably 30–40% of Databricks consumption is doing transformation, is doing ETL within Databricks. Before then, they're running machine learning and platforms within it. But they need the data. They need the data. They need it trusted. They want to, us bringing all of that data directly into Delta. We support direct CDC into Delta. So we're landing real-time data, like I say, an ODS directly within Databricks. And that is really where helping business value, the business sees that data faster rather than having to access all the way an SAP system, a mainframe, Oracle, Salesforce, wherever the true source systems are. So we touched on here already that our business is bringing data to the cloud. And this is where our Tech Alliance is a huge part of our business, working directly with them. And we've won some really nice awards. We have a lot of shared customer use cases and win wires around each one of these platforms. I'm not here to tell you that AWS is better than GCP or Azure is better than Snowflake. What we see in the enterprise space is a hybrid approach for both on-premise but also the cloud. Almost all of our Fortune 500 customers we have multiple cloud strategies. Yes, you may have your sales organization sitting on the Azure stack, but your production environments, they're more AWS. Or you want your machine learning platforms on GCP, but again, sales may be on Azure. These are the business running in the cloud. At the corporate level, nobody wants to go all in on one cloud vendor. That one stack supporting everything, people only get burnt in that environment. You have to have independence. And that is really where we're very proud that we are the independent vendor for data integration, and we are the leading independent vendor for analytics, running across all of the hyperscalers, bringing the data and answering your most challenging business questions. And independent data is one that we'll drive over and over to keep that independence, to bring real-time data to the cloud. So let's just see then bringing together this portfolio. Bringing together this portfolio of Talend with their ETL, their strong sense of quality, their strong sense of understanding lineage and understanding exactly the what you're moving, and an ELT framework with real-time data at its heart. And, oh, no, there's one more slide first. Oh, it's a sales slide. Comprehensive, agile, and the agile one is one that is worthwhile pointing out first. I'll just make a comment on that. Because change is difficult. Change is difficult. So what I mean, the biggest strength around being the agility as a company is the fact that we're giving you options, we're open. Sometimes it is right for an ELT framework, and sometimes it is right to do an ETL framework. Sometimes it is right to move the data to a Snowflake platform, and sometimes it is right to move data to Databricks. Our agility, our ease of use for that is second to none. The number of sources that we support, the number of targets that we support, all within a simple framework that you can just click and go. One of the largest retailers, supermarket retailers here in the UK, were all in on Snowflake, building full Snowflake packages, and they wanted to spin up machine learning in Databricks with Dolly. They wanted to do a project. It took us literally 10 minutes to stream. Instead of going all to Snowflake, all of that data can go to Databricks to find that and move that data. It's just a click of a button once the pipeline is defined to change targets, to move data between platforms. It wasn't a 6-month project. They had real-time data running directly within Databricks by the end of the day. We can help organizations do that with governance and control to understand their use case, to help them on that journey. So on the very first slide, I had those two circles. I had those two circles that was the business and IT. And this is now building out the framework of what we offer, and each one of these building blocks, you can go and purchase from other companies, catalog from Calibra or Relation, you can get reverse ETL, you can get ETL, you can get transformation. All of this you see on this slide is within the Talend, within the Qlik Talend portfolio to help organizations get value out of data. But the story starts on this slide. The story starts with the business. Whether or not that's a new modern analytics use case, building a product, understanding the business, understanding a use case. And you know you have data sitting within transactional systems or within SaaS applications, within files in data warehouses, wherever it may be. And you pick a cloud provider or a multiple cloud providers. This is the first starting point. We're all in on Azure. We're building AWS. GCP is our preferred platform. The first thing that I would recommend in a process is you start with a metadata and a catalog conversation. What data do you have in what format? What data do you need in what format and why? You may already have all the data sitting in Snowflake, or you know that it's sitting in operational systems, but understanding what you want to do first is the first part of any journey. Then we go and get the data. We move the data. And we have multiple ways in which we do that. CDC is our real differentiator, change data capture. Capturing the changes in real time out of operational systems and streaming that directly to the cloud. We can also work in batch mode, we can work in incremental mode, we can get data out of SaaS applications, out of cloud and out of Workday and out of any of the other sort of processes where your data sits today. But then you need to understand where the transformation sits. There's always going to be a T. And this is, again, our uniqueness in the market is we offer full ETL frameworks within our talent portfolio of understanding the transformation and the complexity. And we also offer ELT frameworks of push down SQL directly into the modern cloud platforms today. There is a use case for one and a use case for another. It's not a one size fits all. We're giving you options based on your use case, based on on also, dare I say it, cost. You don't always want to move all the data into Snowflake and push down transformations. That will cost you quite a lot. If you're just doing monthly billing cycles, we'll run the transformation for you and write out the data mart into Snowflake for analytics. You take that choice, understanding the right pattern to meet the use case. Again, it's a metadata, it's a catalog question of when to do the right thing. Then where does the data get exposed? We also have our API services, so we can expose that data and push that directly into applications or accessing it directly. And then we offer a reverse ETL, meaning the catalog, we can also do catalog syncs to other catalogs. We're not looking to be a black box here. If you're already using Calibra, Elation, to Purview, Clued and others, we will expose our lineage, our control. But at the top, in our DNA, the most important, it's about quality. You can't ignore this. One of the biggest failures, I think, of a data mesh methodology is that you're handing quality problems over to the business and giving them the challenge. Over to you, you sort it out. And everybody has to sort out their own quality issues themselves. This is an issue that IT needs to own, ultimately. In the quality, the data steward, lineage, and the methodology about understanding your data, this sits all within our platform. Everything you see here is where we have technology and we have services in this space. And where are we going? We're moving all of this to a SaaS service model and bring it all into the cloud to make that data usable faster to your data professionals, helping your data professionals get the value out of these products today. But this is like the dark, gloomy slide. What does it mean now around Gen AI? What does it mean about this change? Surely there's a newer way of working. The data mesh is last year's message, and the modern way is just put all the data somewhere and ask a question and it'll magically get business value. And this is really where another evolutionary story of wherever you see the use of data and the evolution of that to this modern world of the Gen AI, it is still the same problem that Teradata had 30 years ago. Getting access to the right data in the right formats to answer those business questions. This is really where we see automation being the building block. Everybody knows that AI and Gen AI is going to help the business. But how? How are you going to still have those fundamental challenges in that the business doesn't understand the underlying structures of the mainframe, doesn't understand SAP and the BSEG table of master data within the structures of Z tables defined within an SAP structure. That has to be the business professionals bringing that data, IT bringing that data to a catalog to understand that and then modeling it directly. This combination of AI and Gen AI, this is really where Qlik are leading the way within our analytics platform. We have advanced analytics and AI-enabled engines within our analytics platform, and we're bringing this methodology and this power also to win our pipelines modeling today. So the three things that I'd just like to make sure you're truly aware of when you're looking at these new LLM models, when you're looking at these new methodologies to get business value out of the data that you hold today, you still have to remember the fundamentals. Do not empower your teams to do new things with these modern analytics LLM models if 80% of their time is just going to be cleaning and moving and managing data. This has to sit within a framework of the fabric supporting the mesh. And the mesh now has technology within it of bringing the right data, identifying that data and changing it fast. A pipeline is a changing dimension to bring the right data to those teams faster. And we within Qlik Talend now, bringing the portfolio all together, we have that modern data fabric. We have not just one use case, but many to support all of the business faster. And we're the AI-powered engine within us to expose value to everyone within the business. And cloud-agnostic independence. That really is our number one message. Real-time data, not just to one, but to multiple clouds, not to answer one business question, but to answer many. That is really where we're helping organizations today. Thank you very much.